Hey everyone, what's going on? This is ONLYUSEmeFEET here, bringing you all an Outrun Online Arcade gameplay for the Xbox 360. This game is actually Outrun 2 Special, which came out in around 2006 to the arcades and the original Xbox, but this is the updated Xbox Live Arcade PSN version, which was actually taken down off of both marketplaces a couple weeks ago because I believe Sega's contract with Ferrari has ran out, which makes sense. 2006 to 2011 was 5 years, so yeah. So this is basically just going to be my commentary on the great Outrun 2 Special. So, first of all, this is my first gameplay coming back to this game after about, I'd say, 4 months of not playing it, so excuse any scrubbiness, but I did manage to complete the game, which is actually a little hard, even on the easier difficulties. Basically, you just gotta drift all the way. But one thing I really like about this game, Outrun 2, is the environments. Like, everywhere you go just has something really neat about it, and is really scenic and is a joy to drive by. Also, another thing I like is the whole scoring system. I think the scoring system is really unique. Basically, you get points every time you pass a car, and you get a shitload of points every time you pass a rival car, and also you get points for how far you get, so it's really cool and definitely brings up that arcade aspect that these games kind of have to have. So basically, I want to talk about my man Yu Suzuki in this gameplay today, and if you guys don't know who Yu Suzuki is, he's basically Sega's Shigeru Miyamoto, and actually is one of the godfathers of gaming. I was reading an interview that featured him, or someone interviewed Yu Suzuki, and I'll probably post that below if I can find it. And Yu Suzuki is quoted in there saying that he's like the father of gaming, and Shigeru Miyamoto is like the mother of gaming. And what this quote means is Miyamoto, he made, a lot of great franchises, Mario, Zelda, and they were always based about plant type things, mushrooms and all the random plant life in Zelda and stuff. So that's why Yu Suzuki said he's like the mother. He's the father of gaming because if you look at his games, he had like Hang On, which had motorcycles, Afterburner, which had jets, Outrun, which had, Ferraris. So Suzuki figured himself as the father of gaming. Also, Suzuki, in my opinion, if you really look at this man's backlog, I think he's actually better, if not the same, as Miyamoto in terms of how much innovation they've done. Is Miyamoto, he's been able to take his franchises, Yu Suzuki also speaks on this, he's been able to take his franchises really far and really deep and manages to still still have a lot of people buy them, 25, 30 years later. But Yu Suzuki always wanted to innovate. He always wanted to make games that were thought impossible. Virtua Fighter was one of these games, as was Outrun, and I basically loved working in 3D. His Hang On and Outrun games, would look like this, except in not quite as good graphics. And, yeah, I mean, Yu Suzuki just always wanted to innovate, and that's why I really respect that man, and that's why I wanted to make this commentary. And of course, he also made the great Shenmue, which I actually have yet to play. I hate to admit that. I have all the discs I need to play a whopping 4, but I just don't have time to play it. I really want to devote myself to that game, and will not play it until I feel I have enough time to devote all my attention to Shenmue. That game really seems like a game that needs to be experienced just, in the greatest conditions possible. But Yu Suzuki definitely was an ambitious man. It's so sad to see he's not making many games anymore, unless he's secretly making Shenmue 3, as a lot of people like to believe. Except recently, he's come out and said that he most likely will never get to make it because nobody wants to fund it. Because sadly, the first two Shenmue games pretty much bombed compared to how much effort went into them. As an example, one of his lead programmers was talking about making a phone cord in the original Shenmue, and the programmer said it was really hard to make it behave like a real phone cord, but Yu Suzuki kept on pushing him and pushing him to make a real life phone cord, and it didn't even actually make it in the final game. And he also had to make handcuffs, which were also difficult to make properly, and those only appeared in a game for like 5 seconds. But anyways, look at this. I completed my outrun, got to goal C, which isn't the hardest goal to get to, obviously, but it's respectable. And I also left the credits in here because you guys can look at the left side and there's a cool little animation. But Outrun 2, I hardly talked about this game, but Outrun 2 is really a great game. I wish I could recommend it to you all. Sadly, the Xbox version has some issues on the 360, so I can't really recommend you all get that. So instead, just find a friend that managed to buy this before it got taken down and play the hell out of his. It's definitely a game you should play if you love arcade racers like this. And Sega and Yu Suzuki are both great things to happen to the gaming community. So anyways, this is ONLYUSEmeFEET saying, look ma, no hands. Later.